This is in memory of Jared Orchen, and we will turn to page 827. We'll learn about Parshat Matot. We'll start at the beginning of Parshat Matot, and then we'll dwell into a very interesting concept.
God spoke to Moses, saying, "Take revenge for the Israelites against the Midianites. Then you shall die and be gathered to your people."
God tells Moses what the story with the Midianites. The Midianites, when Bilam, the Gentile prophet, wanted to curse the Jewish people, Balak commissioned them to curse the Jewish people. And he wasn't successful. He ended up to give the most beautiful blessings. But then before he left, he told them, "I have an idea for you. If you want to get the Jewish people in trouble, send out the Midianite girls. They will seduce the Jewish boys. And then they will control them and they will make them worship idols." Then beside this business of non-Jewish girls, what the worst part here was that it was successful and the Jewish boys that were worshipping idols. And because of this, God was upset with the Jewish people and a plague broke out among the Jews and 24,000 Jews died. Then God is now telling Moses, go take the revenge of the Jewish people in the Midianites. And then he tells them, you will die. Moses will die. Now, naturally, if somebody hears that this is his last mission, he's not in a rush, right? Hey, he makes a meeting, then he makes another meeting, then he goes, then he comes. It takes his time. Moses did it right away. Okay.
Quick question. The 24,000, that's the same number that died in Akiva's plague?
Yeah, very
Yes.
interesting, very interesting, yes.
What do you think
Good
the
thinking.
connection is?
The connection is that 24 is
Or
a
special number.
din number. It's a judgment. It's not a good number, 24. Like 18 is a good number. 24 is not such a good number.
2 dozen?
Dozen is not such
it's
a good thing.
sound. Sound 24 is a good sound.
That's nice. But 24, kat koitzim soshach, there's a whole thing about it in Kabbalah, about certain numbers. And it's twice the double dozens. Yeah, this dozen is not, you don't see, I mean, for the 12 tribes, but 24 in itself is not a good number. There is other stories of 24 that didn't work out. Hello.
That's why I choose.
Then you're right, it's the same number. And there is a verse in the Bible that says that kat koed is means twice chav daled. And basically this number is not a good number for the Jewish people. Then when you want to give a donation, make it 25. Actually 26 is the number of God. The name of God is the gematria, the numerical value of the word Hashem. Then Yud K Vav K is 26. That's a good number.
28 is good.
Koach, that's strength. 28 is strength. Okay, let's continue.
Moses spoke to the people, saying, "Detach men for armed service against the Midian, so that God's revenge could be taken against the Midianites."
Now here Moses says God's revenge. God said the Jewish people revenge. To teach us that God's revenge is the Jewish people revenge. When somebody is against the Jews, is against God. Somebody is against God, is against the Jews. And history proved it. But we'll not get into it. In any case, he says, I want 1,000 people from every tribe. Okay,
Quick question again.
yeah.
Moses grew up in Midian, or he was 80 years
Very
old or
good.
whatever
Very
in
good.
Midian. These were his kind of his people.
That's why Moses sent Elazar to go to war, and he didn't do the war, because he benefited from the Midianites. And Judaism teaches us about Akarat Tov. You have to be thankful. Then there is a statement in the Talmud, from the well that you were drinking water from, don't throw a stone in. Then because he benefited from the Midianites, he didn't go to the war with the Midianites. He himself didn't do the war, because the question is, God told him to do the war, why gave it to somebody else? And the answer is because he benefited from the Midianites. That's what the Medrash
He had
says.
a son with Midian woman.
Yeah, he married her,
Yeah,
Tzipporah.
yeah.
Go ahead, you want to continue?
From the thousands of Israel, 1,000 volunteered for each tribe, i.e. a total of 12,000 special
It's interesting the
troops.
translator volunteered. Even the way Rashi learns it, it's not volunteered. You see, volunteered were given over. If you look in the notes in the bottom, 3:30:15 were given over. According to Rashi, the way it's written, the text is Vaimosru. They were handed over. Why? Because the Jews didn't want to go to war. Why?
Because they didn't want to see Moshe die.
They didn't want to see Moses die. The same Jews who gave Moses so much trouble. That was to have fun. But now that it's serious, oh, we love him. There is a story about a rabbi. A woman came and she cursed him out with the worst curses. And the rabbi tells him, why are you letting her do such a thing? He said, she doesn't mean it. What do you mean she doesn't mean it? She's cursing you out. So you want to see she doesn't mean it? He calls her in and says, lady, you want I should give you a blessing, you should have a child like me? He says, oh, Rabbi, I wish I would have a child like you. He told the wife, he said, I told you she doesn't mean it. Then the same thing is here. The Jewish people were giving a hard time to Moses because they're Jews. But when they heard that Moses is going to die, they didn't want it to happen. And there's a whole long thing about that, but we will move on. Go ahead. They were given a volunteer. Go ahead. You finish the.
Moses sent forth 1,000 men from each tribe as an army along with Pinchas, son of Eleazar, the priest, who was in charge of the sacred articles and signal trumpets.
Pinchas, the same Pinchas who took revenge in the beginning in the Midianite, the same Pinchas was sent here to finish the job, so to speak. Go ahead.
They mounted a surprise attack against the Midian as God had commanded Moses and killed all the adult males. Along with the other victims, they also killed 5 kings of Midian, Avi, Rechem, Sur, Hur, and Reva, and the 5 Midianite kings. They also killed Bilam, son of Beor, by the sword.
This prophet who wanted to curse the Jewish people was killed by the Jews in the end. That was this war. Okay, let's continue. Mark, you want to continue?
The Israelites took captive all the women of Midian and their children. They took as booty all their animals, all their possessions, and all their wealth. The Israelites also set fire to all their residential cities and fortresses, taking all the booty and plunder both man and beast.
They came back with a whole. You come back from a war, you have a lot of goods there.
So we got some wars where we weren't allowed to take booty and some where we were.
They did not take the booty, they did not take it for personal use.
Mhm.
Which war you were not allowed to take booty?
From
Joshua.
Joshua,
Amalekites.
in the story in the Jericho,
Mhm.
the story of Amalek, you're not allowed to benefit from it.
Mhm.
That's why it's written by the Megillah. They didn't touch the booty.
Mhm.
They killed their enemies because they were descendants of Amalekites, so to speak. But as we will read later, they didn't take the booty for themselves. They brought it to Moses for the collective good. They wanted to Moses to tell them what to do with it. All their
Gold
stuff.
and silver and
Who's the one guy with
horses,
what's the guy's name with Joshua who took the booty?
Achan.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. He took the idols, I think.
Mhm.
It was more than just booty. Okay.
They brought the captives, the plunder, and the spoils to Moses, Eleazar the priest, and the entire Israeli community, who were in the western plains of Moab, on the Jericho Jordan. Moses, Eleazar, and all the community princes went out to greet them outside the camp. However, Moses was angry at the generals and captains, who were the officers returning from the military campaign.
Okay. Moses, they came back, and Moses was angry with them. Why was Moses angry with them? All right.
Why have you kept all the women alive? Demanded Moses. These are exactly the ones who were involved with the Israelites at Balaam's instigation, causing them to be unfaithful to God in the Peor incident, and bringing a plague on God's community. Now kill
Okay, we'll stop right here. Moses was angry with them. Moses says, you brought here the Midianite women. They were the source of the whole problem. They seduced the Jewish people, and because of them they worshipped idols, and because of it was a plague among the Jews. You were there, you were going now to take a revenge in them, not to bring the girls here to make more tzores. To a point, the Medrash says they were able to recognize this is the guy who had the trouble, who went with her, and this is the woman who went with this guy. You brought them back. But Moses was angry. Moses was angry. So now,
kill every male child as well as every woman who has been involved intimately with a man. However, all the young girls who have not been involved intimately with a man you may keep alive for yourselves.
Okay, it says we have to get rid of them. You must now remain. You want to continue?
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not written anywhere that actually Moses did it. I mean, that the Jewish people it actually happened. According to, it's probably it happened, but it's not written clearly that they did it actually.
Did they kill them?
You mean
Yes.
that they killed the women,
Yes,
or that they
yes.
kept the younger women for themselves?
All the above.
All of the above. No, they kept the younger people for themselves. That's written.
Yes.
That was allowed.
Would
You
they have
may-
been
it says you may.
You may, yeah.
Would they have been slaves at that point, or would they have been concubines?
I'll tell you, if you marry her, you're not allowed to make her a slave. We know the laws from a war by a woman. If there is laws that if they during biblical time they went to war and they found a woman they want to marry her, if you marry her, you're not allowed to
Right.
treat her like a slave. Absolutely not. You're talking about conversion and marrying, then she's not a slave. She's your wife. Absolutely not.
Excuse me, was the plague limited to those that had been seduced? Or was that?
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. The people, not so much to do the people who worship idols. You
Okay.
need to understand the idol worshipping was such a disaster. That was the end of the 4 years. The beginning of the 4 years was the golden calf. Now, fine, all generation died in the desert. Now it's a new generation. Shine. These are the good guys. The same story all over again. They worshipped the Baal Peor. Moses was buried across the Baal Peor. It's written to atone for the Baal Peor for this sin of the golden calf. See, the golden calf is the problem with this is the relationship between God and the Jewish people is compared to a marriage, right? We are the wife, God is the husband. Worshipping idols is having an affair, going to another God, another more man. That's why it's so bad. That's why it's so angering, so upsetting God. And that's why the problem was not so much, it wasn't so great, the whole Midianite woman story, but the real problem here was the idol worshipping. And the same story that happened 4 years before, all over again, the same story, nothing changes. The new generation behave just like your parents.
We see it happening over and over again up through the
Yeah.
Babylonian exile.
Every time your wife and you see your son doesn't behave he's doing just what his father is doing. When the bad behavior, the father is blamed. When it's a good behavior, then the mother takes credit for it, obviously. Then, okay, you must now remain.
You must now remain outside the camp for 7 days. Whoever killed a person or touched a corpse must purify himself on the 3rd and 7th days. As far as you and your captives are concerned, every garment, every leather article, anything made of goat products, and every wooden article must undergo such purification.
Basically, anything that touched a dead body, any person.
We've had wars before. Seems strange that now
Which wars?
we fought the
Amalek?
Amalek.
How many periods? Amalek was 5 minutes after they left Egypt, before they received the Torah.
Og.
Before they received the Torah. Og was later, I think.
Yeah. No, but
But-
this isn't the first battle they've had.
No, that's what my point
Which other battles they had?
Og and
Sichon and Og took place already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the order of time?
See, I guess
Who
what-
killed Sichon and Og? Moses. I don't know if it was a collective thing. And besides, it's not a surprise. The Torah was given within the 4 years. You need to understand. There's a whole discussion if the Jewish people had to observe the Torah in the desert or they started the full observation when they entered the land of Israel. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Then it's not a surprise why here and not there.
Okay.
It's not little by little, Moses gave the laws. You'll see something interesting right here. Okay, Elazar the priest.
Eleazar the priest said to the soldiers returning from the campaign, "This is the rule that God commanded Moses. As far as the gold, silver, copper, iron, tin, and lead are concerned, whatever was used over fire must be brought over fire and purged, and then purified with the sprinkling water.
Okay,
However,
go continue. I'm sorry. Go
that
ahead.
which was not used over fire need only be immersed in a mikveh."
Then he was teaching us the laws of immersing dishes in a mikveh, and also kashering.
Yeah.
Then what's the laws of immersion? He said anything that was in the possession of idol worshipping today by anybody who is not Jewish, basically, has to be immersed in the water in a mikveh, in pure water, before it can use it. That's why we have a special mikveh for dishes. You immerse every dish that you buy, you get. Now, if it was used for food, and it's a dish, even a Jewish person used it for non-kosher product, he has to kosher it. If it's with fire, you kosher it with fire. Or boiled water, it's like this. If you use it for cooking, it's basically used with boiled water, then you use it with the same thing. You kosher it with the same way, right?
Mhm.
Okay, you yourself.
You yourself must also immerse your bodies and your garments on the seventh day, and you will then be clean so that you can enter the camp.
Okay, we'll stop right here. Elazar told that to the Jewish people. Elazar? Who is Elazar? Aaron's son, right?
Mhm.
Who is Elazar to be a talker here? Well, the old Rabbi Moses is standing right there, talking to the Jewish people. Elazar is his nephew. You know, by Jewish law, you're not allowed to offer a halachic ruling in front of your Rebbe.
Mhm.
Let's say I was standing next to my teacher from Yeshiva who gave me the rabbinical ordination. Somebody walks in and asks a question, what should I do? I'm not allowed to offer the ruling. I have to turn to him. In front of Moses, Elazar is giving, and from where is Elazar knows the laws? Who taught them? Not Moses. What happened there? Why is Elazar talking? Where is Moshe? Oh, the chutzpah! And Rashi says, something bad happened here. What happened to Moses? What he did before? Right here on this page. What he told when he saw the Jewish people, what he told them?
He got angry.
He got angry. Bol ichlal kas, bol ichlal tos. He got angry, he made a mistake. He forgot. I'm sorry. He got angry, he made a mistake. It's written Vaiktsov. If you look on the second line in the top of the page, the last word in the second line, Vaiktsov. Vaiktsov means Moses, he got angry. That's literally the word from Vaiktsov. This is number 14, right? Let's see how they translate it. However, Moses was angry, yeah? Moses got angry. Then Rashi brings other examples where Moses got angry and he made a mistake. You tell me when Moses got angry.
When he hit the rock.
When he hit the rock, very good.
Called the
Moses,
Jewish people rebels.
because that's the same.
Oh, it's the same.
Okay, the Moses called the Jewish, even the word angry is not written there, but because he called the Jewish people rebels, that's in Parshas Chukas, right? In the beginning of Parshas Chukas. That's on page 763. Number 9, you can read it. 763, number 9.
Moses took the staff from before God as he had been instructed. Moses and Aaron then assembled the congregation before the cliff. Listen now, you rebels, shouted Moses.
Shouted Moses.
So we'll produce water for you from this cliff. It's the first time I ever heard of the cliff involved. The cliff.
Cliff. What was a stone? Well, a rock? What's the difference? Can I took out water from
Big
this
rock.
cliff?
That's just a small
Yeah, it
little rock
wasn't a
goes
little
up.
Cliff
thing.
is like you fall
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah, like a big, like mountain type cliff.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Number 9.
Yeah. I mean, Asela Azeh, Moses got angry, and therefore instead of speaking to the rock, he lost it, so to speak, whatever it means by Moses, and he made a mistake.
We see this also with Hillel.
One second before we go to Hillel. Any other examples with Moses?
At the golden calf.
Okay, we'll see the golden calf. We'll go to the golden calf. What page is it? Very good that you opened it.
451.
451. Thank you. We'll see what happened in golden calf.
Nice.
451. Good that you bring this up because that's a very important thing to see. 451. Okay, we're
19.
in the bottom of the page. Dr. Orchin, you want to do us a favor and read a few lines for us? 451 in the bottom.
Moses turned around and began going down the mountain with the 2 tablets of testimony in his hand. They were tablets written on both sides, with the writing visible from either side. The tablets were made by God and written with God's script engraved on the tablets. Joshua heard the sound of the people rejoicing, and he said to Moses, "It sounds as though there is a battle going on in the camp." It is not the song of victory," replied Moses, "nor the dirge of the defeated. What I hear is just plain singing." As he approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, Moses displayed anger and threw down the tablets that were in his hand.
Moses displayed anger. What kind of a word is that, displayed anger? He was angry or was not angry? But we'll go to it. Continue.
Tablets that were in his hand, shattering them at the foot of the mountain. He took the calf that...
Okay, that's the main thing. Moses was angry. He smashed the tablets. No. What happened after he smashed the tablet? Did he get another set?
Eventually.
Obviously, it wasn't such a mistake, right? Moses was never punished for this, right? For reading the rock, he was punished. Here he wasn't. Obviously, it wasn't such a mistake. Okay, any other places that Moses got angry?
Yeah. When Miriam died.
He wasn't angry.
No, when water died.
Well, it's the same thing.
That's the same story. That's the same story.
What about when he killed the Egyptian?
Yeah.
He did a mitzvah angry. He wasn't angry.
Wow.
He was saving a life.
Okay.
Oh, wasn't there some anger with when the whole issue with the meat?
Meat.
With
When
the Jewish
Hebrew-
people.
Hebrews
The
wanted to
quails?
eat meat.
And God was angry, not Moses. We was Moses more angry. No, scholars.
Well, in Deuteronomy, he sort of starts.
He wasn't angry. It's written clear. Moses was angry.
At the Ruvain and God when they wanted to stay behind.
Actually, he was angry. That was last week's parsha. But I don't think it's written the word. He didn't lose anything. He didn't lose it, and it's not. Let's see what's written there. Good that you bring it up. Yeah. It's not written that Moses was angry. He tells them that God was angry.
It was during Pharaoh's time? Got angry at Pharaoh?
And Pharaoh got angry.
Yeah.
Also Moses got angry. Two places.
Oh.
No.
But just,
The spies.
when he said he didn't, when he told God that he'll erase me from the book of your,
It wasn't.
He wasn't angry there.
he
He
wasn't
was
angry
defending the
there?
Jewish people.
He was,
Oh, yeah.
Angry means, we'll get to it, but let's first see where else Moses got angry. Okay, I will not torture you so much. You remember anything with the story of the 2 sons of Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
With the pans?
They died, right?
Got a
And
little
what
angry.
happened later? Well, let's open on page 541, I think. Yeah. Number 1. Let's read a little bit. Go ahead.
Aaron's sons, Nadav and Abihu, each took his fire pan, placed fire on it, and then incense on it. They offered it before God, but it was unauthorized fire, which God had not instructed them to offer. Fire came forth from before God, and it consumed them, so that they died before God.
Okay, we'll skip all of this and we'll turn to the next page. And we'll see completing the service. What happened is they offered sacrifices on this day. That was the day of the inauguration, in the middle of this tragedy. Then they offered sacrifices. They had the Cohens, Aaron and his sons, was supposed to eat from the meat, of the sacrificial meat. They did not eat.
Oh,
Then Moses got angry with them. Look at number 15.
yes.
Right.
Go ahead.
The hind leg for the elevated gift and the chest for the wave offering shall be brought on top of the choice parts designated as the fire offering. It is all to be waved in the prescribed motions of the wave offering. The leg and chest are meant to be a portion for you and your descendants for all time as Hashem commanded.
Okay, don't worry about that. Let's number 16. I'm sorry.
Moses then inquired about the goat slaughtered as a sin offering.
As a sin offering.
And when he discovered that it had already been burnt, he was angry with Aaron's surviving sons, Eleazar and Itamar. He said to them, "Why did you not eat the sin offering in a holy place? It is a holy of holies, has been given to you to remove the community's guilt and atone for them before God."
He said this, that they did not eat from a sin offering. There is a piece that the Kohen gets. And the Kohen's eating it is an atonement for the offering. It's a part of the atonement. They did not eat it, and it was burned. If it's not eaten, it has to be burned. Moses find out what they did with the sin offering. They told him it was burned. He turned to Elazar and Isamar. He didn't want to scream at Aaron. It was not nice. He says, "What you did?" He was angry. Moses got angry. It's written here. He says, "How dare you did it?" What happened?
I just have a question here. It says that when he discovered that it had already been burned, where
Yes.
was he?
Moses said it was a mess. It was a big event. With the Torah, with everything together. 545. Yeah, the next page. Continue.
Aaron responded to Moses today.
I'm
when
sorry.
They,
Go ahead.
When they sacrificed their sin offerings and burnt offerings before Hashem, such a terrible tragedy occurred to me. If I had eaten the sin offering today, would it have been right in Hashem's eyes? When Moses heard this, he approved.
He approved. Well, he told Moses, the time before the day of the death, the person is considered a onen. Onen is a certain category. He cannot eat from the meat of the sacrificial meat. That Aaron tells him, God would want me to eat the meat? Moses says, "Oh, yeah, you're right." How did Aaron know? For Moses. And Rashi says, what means Moses? Why Moses got angry? Because he got angry, he forgot the law. This is the three examples that Rashi brings. The story that we have in this parsha, in Parshat Matos, with the Midianite woman, therefore he forgot about the laws of purification, the story of the eating the rock, and the story of the two sons of Aaron's death. There is one more time that Moses got angry in the Bible.
So it was 4 times.
Yeah, the fourth time.
But Rashi only brings 3.
Rashi brings 3. Yes, because probably from the Talmud. But there is another place it's written that Moses got angry. Then, realize that Moses did not bring the example. Got angry? It's written got angry?
Moses became very angry. I'm looking right
Which
at
page
it.
is it?
743.
743. I'll take you back to all these places, then you'll be 743.
Line 15.
743, 15. Yeah. Moses became very angry. Okay. You made a mistake? No? Then what's going on? Sometimes he gets angry. They were splitting of breaking the tablets. Moses got angry. We don't count it. We decide when it's good and when it's not. What's going on here? One more place where Moses got angry. Remember the story on page 335 with the manna? Moses told the Jews that manna is coming up from heaven. They got all excited. And what he told them?
Don't take it.
Don't leave it to the next day, right? And what some people did?
They left it to the next day.
Jason and his buddy.
Let's on page 337, number 19.
Moses announced to them, "Let no man leave any over until morning."
Nobody should leave from the manna. It's a daily portion. Tomorrow you get new ones. Go ahead.
Some men did not listen to Moses and left a portion over for the morning. It became putrid and maggoty with worms. Moses was angry with these people.
And he was angry with them. You know what happened later? Continue. Read it, actually. It's interesting to read. Go ahead.
The people gathered it each morning according to what each person would eat. Then when the sun became hot, it melted.
Every day they got a portion. You want to continue?
When Friday came, that they gathered, it turned out to be a double portion of food, 2 omers for each person. All the leaders of the community came and reported to Moses. Moses
They
said,
came, one second, they came Friday. Every day they got one portion, a omer, it's like a pound, let's say. Friday, everybody finds in his package 2 pounds. They don't know what's going on. They came to Moses. Moses said to them, go ahead.
it's before first Shabbat.
Yeah, very good.
Moses said to them, this is what God has said. Tomorrow is a day of rest, God's holy Sabbath. Bake what you want to bake and cook what you want to cook today. Whatever you have left over, put aside carefully until morning.
Okay. Moses now told them, and they came and said, what's going on? I said, oh, I have something to tell you. Tomorrow is Shabbos. Shabbos we don't cook, we don't bake, we have to have everything before Shabbat, right? When Moses heard the news that the Friday will be a double portion, much before. God told Moses 2 pages ago, 2 pages before that, 335, number 4, when Hashem told them, God said to Moses, go ahead.
I will make bread rain down to you from the sky. The people will go out and gather enough for each day. I will test them to see whether or not they will keep my law. On Friday they will have to prepare what they bring home. It will be twice as much as they gather every other day.
Right in the beginning, that Moses comes and tells them, no, you're going to have manna. He didn't tell them a word about Friday. Later, they came with the portions. That some people in the commentaries, there's all discussion, was it a bad thing that Moses... One of the explanation is because he got angry with the people who left over, he forgot the law. And came Friday and they showed up with the 2 pounds. Oh, yeah. That's one of the explanations. Now, when we choose that his anger was good, what's going on here? What's the game here? Here is something that lost in translation. In English, in Hebrew, there is Va'iktzov, as I showed you. In the time, this week's Parshat, when we talk about the Midianite story, it's written Va'iktzov. He got angry. And the story of Aaron, the 2 sons of Aaron, Va'iktzov. In this story with the manna, Va'iktzov. You know what's written in the story of the golden calf? You have the pages there. It's on page. There is another word for anger in the Bible. Another word completely.
Was that the one that said displayed anger?
Is that like
You realize it said
righteous anger?
Displayed anger?
451.
451. Thank God for you. 451. Look the word because it's a very, very, very important different word. 451. 1 second, I cannot even find the page. Okay, in the bottom, right? It's 3 lines from the end, from the bottom. The last word, Va'ichar af Moshe, not Va'iktzov, Va'ichar. And that's what Uz told me about another place that's written that Moshe was
Korach,
angry.
it's Vayichar.
In Korach, Vayichar, right? What's Vayichar?
It's Vayichar LeMoshe Mod.
What would be the word Vayichar?
Related to Vayikra?
Upset?
No, upset,
Ritziche?
Disappointed?
very disappointed, very sad. I had the word in English, not greeted,
Grieved?
grieved, thank you. Grieved, that's the word.
Grieved?
Grieved. Moses was very grieved. It caused him a lot of grief. He wasn't angry, but a lot of grief.
Upset.
That's Va'ichar, and that's the difference from Va'iktzov and Va'ichar. Va'iktzov means getting angry. Va'ichar means he had a lot of grief. What's the difference? Now it's my commentary. The difference is if you lose it or not. Now, where we see it is big different. In every other places that Moses get angry, that's what I told you about Korach, that's about the golden calf. There is many other places. Va'icharav. Can Hashem get angry? That's a question. It's never written about Hashem getting angry, the word Va'iktzov. It's only written Va'icharav. He was, what's the word? Grieved. Pained by the behavior of the Jews. God doesn't lose it. God, and we see it all over the Bible, the different. And it's a very important thing to realize the difference between these two. And there is only 3 places written by Iktzov. 3 places about Moses that he got angry. Even in the story of the Iraq, it's not written that he was angry. Just he told them rebels. From this, the Bible learns, the rabbis learn, that he was angry. Now, where is written about God's anger? Where can you recall God's anger? And God will get angry with you, Moses says 1,000 times.
Well, with the golden calf. Moshe says,
That's Moses got angry. Actually.
No, but I thought that he's saying that you should.
And in the same page, if you're already in 451, look at number 10. It's written 9 in number 10. You see now. Let's start from number 9. Who's supposed to read? Yeah.
Can we read number 9?
Yeah, please.
God then said to Moses, I have observed the people, and they are an unbending group. Now do not try to stop me when I unleash my wrath against them.
I unleash my wrath. If you look in the Hebrew side, ve'ichar api. Ve'ichar, the same expression. No anger. I heard it from a rabbi many years ago, and I really didn't understand what he was talking about. He threw it in, says God never got angry, it's not written the word anger about God. And only this week I really realized what he was saying. We all see the Bible, something that we all know. We talk about anger of God. God will be angry with us. In the Shema. In the second paragraph of the Shema, it's in the Torah too, obviously. You remember the Shema, guys?
Mm-hmm. Flare up.
My anger will flare up. Yes. On page 923. Number 16. It's too much exercise, huh? Turning the everything. You want to read, please?
Be careful that your heart not be tempted to go astray and worship other gods, bowing down to them. God's anger will then be directed against you.
Okay, now we'll look in the Hebrew side. It's line, do you see line 17? Line 17, the fourth word. Vechara. Vechara is like Va'ichar. Vechara af. Like Va'ichar af, that's the same word in Hebrew.
Af is a nose?
Af is a nose. It means like the smoke goes out from your nose when you're angry. That's what the Rashi explains. Af, that's why af is nose, yeah. Va'ichar af Hashem. So we're going to give it a physical description that we say, like smoke comes out of his nose from upsetness. But Va'ichar, after all of this said, means grieving.
So why do all the English translations translate it anger?
The English translation.
This is Zaria Kaplan, You'd think he would know.
And where I saw it, it's written in one of the places, maybe by Korach, it's written, Va'ichar leMoshe me'od, and Rashi says, Nitmale roges, he became full of grief.
What story is it?
That's how it translated, the story of Korach. And when you go through the whole Bible, sometimes, let's be intellectually honest, sometimes when Moses speaks about the anger of God, he used the word ketzef, like Vaiktzov. You understand? He says, God was angry with you. Actually, in the book of Deuteronomy, God was angry with you. Where is it?
So the whole point.
Here on page 915, for example, if you turn 915, number 19, Moses describes the anger that God had against the Jews. God also, number 20. You see, God also expressed great anger. Then the word is Asher Katzaf. If you look on line 19 on the Hebrew side, one word before the end, that first we say af, he says the word af, like Vaicharaf, but then in Chema, and then he says Asher Katzaf. Katzaf is like the word Vaiktzof, the same word. That Moses sometimes when he describes the anger of God, he's using the word anger. But never, when God was angry, it's never written in the Bible, the word Vaiktzof. It's written Vaicharaf. He was very upset. He was pained. But never angry.
Because that's a word that he doesn't want us to be ever, as angry.
Oh, very good point. Wait, that was a good thought.
Thank you.
There is a Jewish law that says, then if it comes to anger a person, usually Maimonides writes about that in everything that you do, you should go the middle road. Don't throw money away. Don't be too stingy. Don't everything that you do exercise, but not too much, guys. I mean, whatever you do, the middle road is the right way. Everything that you do. Comes to anger, Jewish law says you're not allowed to have not an inch of it. Nothing. You're never allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to. It's a sin to be angry. And if your kids don't behave, that you're allowed to display anger. We saw the word display anger. You're allowed to display anger. You're not allowed to be angry. Now to show like you have to be in complete control. Because being angry means losing control. You're not allowed to lose control. To go crazy. Now, everything there is a Talmudic statement based on a verse in the Bible. Magid varav leYaakov, chukav u'mishpatav leYisrael. Magid varav means everything that God says. God told the Jews. God gave the Jewish people laws. His laws. What does this mean? The first one to live by these laws is God Himself. That if God demands from us never to be angry, then He cannot be angry. Therefore, it's not even written that God was angry. God never demands from us not to be upset, not to be grieved, but not to be angry. He doesn't say it. It demands from us. You're not allowed to be angry. Why? To a point it's written, the Talmud says, Kol HaKohes, anybody who gets angry is like his idol worshiper. Can you believe it? Here we had a plague because of idol worshipping. We were just talking about that. I got angry, big deal. Who doesn't get angry?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Even Moses got angry.
Mm-hmm.
But why? Why is it like idol worshipping? Because what does this mean to get angry?
You control it.
Let's say I'm late somewhere.
You lose your belief.
I'm late somewhere. I can't believe it happened to me. If you're late, obviously God wanted you to be late. You got stuck in traffic. You're late. God wanted you to be late. But if you have belief in God, you would say, I tried my best. It didn't work out. It didn't work out. If I get angry, what does this mean? Said God, you're not the boss, I'm the boss. There's no God. I'm basically denying God. It's like worshiping idols. We don't have to worship idols to bow down to something. Worshipping idols means I am God. That's what are the idol worshippers? You think they're stupid? Why they change idols? They know that idols are nothing. They basically said, I decide. I am God, I tell my God what to do. I don't like this God, I'll find another God. I don't like this God, I'll find a third God. It's like people tell me sometimes, my God cannot do a Holocaust. Yeah, if you buy the God in the store, or you order him online according to your vision, that's fine. Should you find yourself another God? You don't like this one, we'll replace him. But if God is God, and I'm in His image, people make God in their image. That's the problem. The reflection goes the other direction. I'm a nice guy. God cannot do this. Really? First of all, maybe God is a nice guy, even if He did it. But that's a different story. But let's say you don't like what God did. Many times we don't like what God did. Yeah, that's normal. That's natural. Absolutely. But this is God. That Getting angry is like worshiping idols, and that's why it's so. I mean, in Judaism, it's so unaccepted, and it's written that when a person is angry, he basically chases away God from him. Why he loses it? He loses God. He loses God. God is not with him at that moment. Therefore, Moses can make a mistake.
Job
That's
get angry
it.
with God?
Job, I am not a big maven in the book of Job. I didn't read it too much because I
Job,
don't need to get
think
depressed.
he was
He obviously argues
faithful.
with God, but he needs to get
Argues
angry
with God. Listen, that a human can get angry, that's not as surprising. It's not surprise. I mean, Moses, the ultimate human being, it's written that he got angry. And he got angry for the right reasons. But still he lost it because of it. But that God, that's why in the Bible, Va'icharaf, and that's an example. That's why he mentioned Hillel before. What's the greatness about Hillel, we say? That Hillel was never angry with anybody. There is stories upon stories about Hillel. That was once two guys made a bet if they can get anger Hillel. And one guy came Friday afternoon. They bet on 400 coins, expensive, golden coins, whatever it was, a big amount of money. And he came Friday afternoon to Hillel, and he screams outside the door, "Who is Hillel here?" Hillel was the leader of the Jewish people. Who is Hillel here? Like his friend. Hillel came out. Hillel was about to take a bet. Came out, dressed himself up. "Yeah, my son, what do you want?" He says, "Why the heads of the Babylonians," Hillel was a Babylonian, "why the heads of the Babylonians are in a certain shape?" He wanted to insult Hillel. Hillel gives them an explanation. Okay? It is. 5 minutes later, Hillel is about to get into bed, or maybe he was in. "Who is Hillel? Who is Hillel?" Hillel gets dressed up again. "Why? The eyes from the Chinese are long," he says. Hillel tells them because there is a lot of sand there, that they cannot, God made it should be in a way that the sand shouldn't come into the eyes. He walks in. "Who is Hillel?" The same thing 3-4 times. Maybe more. Finally he says, "You are the Hillel that everybody speaks about you." He says, "Yeah." He says, "There shouldn't be too many people like you." He says, "Why?" He says, because of you, I lost my bet." That Hillel tells them, it's worth it for you to lose 400 coins and another 400 coins, and Hillel should not lose his temper. And this is, when we want to describe Hillel, the most famous Jewish rabbi, actually, among the rabbis. This is the stories that we bring about him. His main achievement was that he never lost his temper. And that's why when people came and told them the story with the convert who came and he said, "I want to learn," there is 3 stories of 3 converts. The Talmud tells in great details. One story is that a convert came and told them, "I want to learn only the written Torah." He says, here that there is 2 Torahs, the written Torah and the oral Torah. He says, "I want only the written Torah." He came to Shammai. Shammai told him, "You're insulting us. But the whole Torah is a part of the Torah. What do you mean? You want to take only a half of the deal? Goodbye." He came to Hillel. Hillel said, "Okay, no problem. Written Torah, written Torah. Let's start today the first private tutoring class. Start to teach him Aleph, Bet." Yeah, we have to start somehow. Teach him Aleph, this is Aleph. See this letter? This is a Bet, this is a Gimel, this is a Dalet. So he tells them, "Come tomorrow." Tomorrow he comes, he shows points on the Aleph, says, "This is a Tav, this is a Reish, this is a Shin." So you said yesterday it's Aleph Bet. He said, even for the written Torah you have to believe us. Even the Aleph Bet you have to have a teacher to believe the teacher that this is Aleph and this is Bet. Then what are you telling me? The oral Torah I don't believe you, you guys made it up, the written Torah is the truth. The Aleph Bet, how to read the written Torah you need to believe us. Besides that the Bible itself, the Torah itself, there is no punctuation, no vowels, no nothing. We to start the verse, we to end the verse, you have to have a tradition. If not, you can mix up all the verses, can have a whole different meaning. Many verses, there is examples for it. A verse can have a whole different meaning. If you finish, you stop it in a different, the punctuation is a different, one word earlier or one word later. This guy learned Torah, learned the oral tradition, converted to Judaism. Then there is a second story about a guy who passed by a school and heard how the kids learn in Cheder, that the high priest used to have special golden clothing, made out of gold, and he He comes to Shammai, he says, I want to be converted to become the high priest. Shammai tells him, we need you to be the high priest. We have so many coins. We have a whole tribe. He sent them away. Came to Hillel, told him, fine, no problem. He started to learn. One day he comes, he eats in the Bible, it says that a stranger who enters the temple will die. He says, oy vey! Then he says, oh, if the Kohen, if the Jew enters the temple without permission dies, me, the time I convert, for sure he cannot. But he immediately converted, and he joined the Jewish people. Then comes the most famous story. The guy who came and said to Shammai, teach me the Torah while I'm standing on one foot. And Shammai pushed him out. Came to Hillel, told him, whatever you don't like people to do to you, don't do to others. It's the opposite of the American statement, treat others like you want to be treated. Hillel said, what you don't like people to do to you, don't do to others. What's the difference in these two statements? To say treat others like you want to be treated, not necessarily. Let's say I'm a person who is not insulted. You can tell me harsh words. That I will also treat everybody else like this. I will insult people right and left because I don't care. You can insult me back. No, it doesn't go like this. It's like, the Talmud says about a marriage. It said you should love your wife like yourself and honor her more than yourself. What does this mean? A husband can say, I buy shoes once a year. You also treat you like just like me. It doesn't work like this. You might need shoes once a year. She needs once a month, once a week. I don't know how much. You cannot say, I will treat others like I want to be treated. Because you might want, a person will say, I need just bread and water. What do you need, meat? You might, good and very important. You're on a diet, you're a vegan, you eat only chveisishvos. That's good for you. But it doesn't mean that that's what you should treat everybody around you. All the poor people say, I will give them all what I eat. I eat bread and water. There is a story about a rich man who came to one of the rabbis, and he told them, Rabbi, I decided to to eat only bread and water, to sleep on a bench, and to become very righteous. Because it's written in the Mishnah, if you want to learn Torah, you should eat bread and water, you should live a harsh life, that you become closer to God. The Rebbe looks at him and tells him, no. I want you to sleep in a good bed and eat meat every day. So he lives. Then his son asks him, Rebbe, the Chassid told the son, what happened? He comes in and says, Rebbe, Father, why you told him that? Finally he wants to do some tshuva, some repentance. He said, you don't understand. If he eats meat, he will understand that the poor person needs bread and water. If he eats bread and water, the poor person will get nothing. Understand that we cannot say the statement, I will treat you the way I want to be treated. What we could say is, what you don't like people do to you, don't do to others. That's very true. That's simple. If you don't like it, for sure the other person also doesn't like it. And even if you think he likes it, if you don't like people do to you, don't do it to others. These three converts once came together, and they said to each other, if not for Hillel, he wouldn't be around, he wouldn't be Jewish people. Then Hillel is known for not losing his temper, no matter how ridiculous the request was.
But there was one time.
Yeah, man.
He becomes a Nazi.
He didn't lose his temper.
It says that he chastised him and then he forgot
He forgot,
He forgot, and that's the same concept.
Yeah, but it forgot, but it's not written that he lost his temper. What's written there, the story is like this. Hillel was not a rabbi. Hillel was an immigrant from Babylon. The Babylonian immigrants were not loved in Israel, for whatever reason. Nothing changed, in life.
It's the second temple?
It was in the middle of the second temple, yes. And Hillel was, and then it was one time, Pesach happened to be on Saturday night. And the question was, are you allowed to offer the Passover lamb on Saturday day? Usually on Shabbat, you're not allowed to offer sacrifices, only the community sacrifices. The question was, is it a community sacrifice or a private sacrifice? Nobody remembered. How could it be that nobody remembered? Because when it was, we're not going to all details, but before the days of the calendar, it could happen that 50 years Pesach should not happen on Shabbat. Could very well happen. There could be a whole generation, nobody remembers. The leaders of that generation were the people from the family of Bnei Betera, from the city Batir in Lebanon. That the family came from. Then they didn't know. Somebody said there is an immigrant, Hillel, he knows. he probably knows. They called Hillel, and he started to prove. He says like the Shabbat sacrifice push us off Shabbat, and he went on. He proof of the Bible, not the proof in many ways. Finally, he said, "That's what I learned from my rabbis Shmaya and Naftalio." But they heard that, they accepted it, and the rabbis of Nei B'Terah were great people. They got up and they resigned, and they said, "You be the leader." He sat down on his chair, and the first thing he did, he rebuked the people from the other rabbis. He says, "If you would learn Torah good, like I did, you wouldn't forget." 5 minutes later was a question. You can take the animal to the temple, but everyone had to bring a knife to slaughter the animal. Are you allowed to carry the knife on Shabbat or not? Hillel said, "I heard and I forgot." And the Talmud says, he said, basically, look what the Jews do. The Jews, if they are not prophets, he said, they are sons, they are disciples of prophets. There is prophecy among the Jewish people. Somehow they'll figure this out, how to do the right way. They end up to stick their knife in the horn or in the wall of the animal. And the animal carried it. What I mean to say is, and the Talmud points out, the commentaries, why forgot? Because he put them down. Because they showed them right away from heaven. Don't be such a big chochem. But from there we learn, but it's the same, you're right, it's a good point, it's the same story. Because he said this, he forgot right away. The same thing that the 3 stories with Moses.
Same thing with Joshua, and he uses 300.
That's not because he wasn't angry. Moses asked, but that's another story. The lesson is, then you're not allowed to be angry.
Well said.